Good evening and welcome to the news. I'm Akoshua, and our top story tonight takes us to Ghana's parliament, where today's session was abruptly suspended by the Speaker, Right Honourable Alban Bagbin, following a dramatic walkout by the Minority Caucus, now led by Honourable Alexander Afenyo-Markin. This marks yet another flashpoint in a parliament that has seen growing tensions since the December 7th elections, where 4 MPs from the majority went independent, altering the balance of power. In today's session, heated exchanges over several key issues, including the controversial e-levy, led to the walkout, forcing the Speaker to halt proceedings. In tonight's coverage, we will break down the events leading up to this moment, hear from key political players, and discuss the implications for Ghana's governance moving forward. It was a tense day in Parliament, with debates growing increasingly heated over key national issues such as the Electronic Transactions Levy, or e-levy, which has been at the center of fierce political debate in recent months. The session took a dramatic turn when the minority, now led by Honourable Alexander Afenyo-Markin, staged a walkout, accusing the majority of ignoring their concerns and bulldozing legislation through without adequate consultation.
As representatives of the people, we have a duty to ensure that their voices are heard. Unfortunately, the majority continues to disregard our concerns. Our walkout today is a protest against the undemocratic handling of important legislation such as the e-levy, which directly affects the livelihoods of Ghanaians.
After the walkout, Speaker Alban Bagbin took to the floor, urging calm before announcing his decision to suspend the session. In a measured address to the House, Speaker Bagbin said,
"Honourable members, I have a responsibility to ensure that this House conducts itself in a manner befitting its mandate. Given the current situation, I see no option but to suspend today's session. It is my hope that both sides will take this time to reflect and return to the floor with a renewed commitment to dialogue and collaboration."
Following this announcement, Majority Leader Honourable Atto Forson expressed his disappointment at the minority's actions, stating,
"It is unfortunate that our colleagues in the minority have chosen to walk out at such a crucial time. The government's legislative agenda is packed with key reforms that Ghanaians are counting on. We hope they will reconsider their stance and join us in passing laws that will benefit the nation."
Today's session was always expected to be a tense one, particularly with the e-levy on the agenda. The e-levy has been a lightning rod of controversy, with the minority opposing it strongly, claiming that it disproportionately impacts low-income Ghanaians who rely on mobile money transfers. During the session, the debate became increasingly charged, with the minority accusing the majority of rushing the process without proper consultation. The tipping point came when the Speaker called for a vote on a procedural matter, which the minority said was being handled unfairly. The minority's frustrations have been building for weeks, and their decision to walk out today was a culmination of their dissatisfaction with how legislative business has been handled. The walkout sent shockwaves through the chamber, leaving the majority in an awkward position, unable to continue with parliamentary business due to the lack of quorum. The walkout is significant because it highlights the fragile nature of the current parliament. With such a narrow margin between the majority and minority, every action is amplified. The absence of the minority leaves the majority unable to pass any legislation without the required quorum, essentially bringing parliamentary business to a halt. With Parliament now suspended, the focus shifts to what happens next. Speaker Bagbin is expected to hold talks with leaders from both sides in an effort to restore calm and bring Parliament back to normal operations. However, the underlying tensions remain unresolved, and it is unclear whether these negotiations will lead to a lasting solution. We're now joined by Dr. Foster, an expert in parliamentary politics, to give us some further insight into the implications of today's events. Dr. Foster, this is not the first time we've seen tensions escalate in this parliament. How significant is today's walkout, and what does it mean for the future of parliamentary proceedings in Ghana?
Thank you, Akosua. Today's walkout is certainly a major development. It underscores the deep divisions within Parliament, and with such a narrow majority, the majority can't afford to lose a single vote. The suspension of today's session by Speaker Bagbin highlights just how delicate the balance of power is. If these tensions aren't resolved soon, It could lead to legislative paralysis, where important bills, such as the e-levy, are unable to pass. That would be a major setback for the government's agenda.
And what about the role of the independent MPs? We've heard a lot about their influence in this parliament. How are they likely to play into this dynamic going forward?
The independent MPs are in a unique and powerful position. With neither the majority nor the minority holding a strong majority, the independents effectively hold the balance of power. This means that both sides will need to court their support in order to move forward with key legislation. It's possible that the independents could become kingmakers in future votes, deciding which bills pass and which don't. Their role will be crucial in determining how this parliament functions.
Many Ghanaians, particularly those in the business sector, are concerned about the e-levy and its potential impact on their livelihoods. We spoke to some local business owners earlier today who shared their thoughts on the parliamentary walkout and the e-levy debate.
The e-levy will affect businesses like mine because we rely on mobile money transactions to pay suppliers. I want Parliament to discuss it properly and find a fair solution. Walking out won't help us.
The public sentiment is clear. Ghanaians want their leaders to resolve these issues and move forward with constructive dialogue. With Parliament now suspended, all eyes are on Speaker Bagbin and the parliamentary leadership to see how they will navigate this crisis. As we bring this discussion to a close, Dr. Foster, looking forward, what steps do you think Speaker Bagbin can take to restore order in Parliament and ensure that these walkouts don't become a recurring issue?
Speaker Bagbin is in a difficult position, but he has a reputation for being a skilled mediator. His next step will likely involve bringing both sides to the negotiating table to find common ground. One potential solution could be greater consultation between the majority and minority on key bills before they are brought to the floor. This would help to prevent the kind of deadlock we saw today. However, if these tensions persist, we could see more dramatic actions, such as further walkouts or even attempts to censure members of Parliament.
As today's dramatic events in Parliament show, the stakes are high, and the challenges facing Ghana's legislative body are greater than ever. With key issues like the e-levy still unresolved, it remains to be seen how long these tensions will persist and what impact they will have on future legislative sessions. We will continue to follow this story closely and provide updates as they unfold. Thank you for joining us tonight. That's all for our coverage on the events from Parliament today. We'll continue to monitor the situation and bring you the latest updates. Stay tuned for more news coming up shortly. Good night.